you rolling already?
Yeah, man.
Son of a I'm not even ready. Now we're ready to roll. Yeah. Happy New Year, everybody. Yeah. Alright, in today's episode of the Goom House of Horrors, we introduced a new project car. I just picked up this 1996 750IL, finished in Oxford green metallic. I picked this thing up for an undisclosed amount of money. It was very cheap. It's about the price of what these M parallels are worth. It's got a 5.4 liter V12, 12 cylinder. Put that in perspective, Cole only has a 4-cylinder in his Honda because he's a bum. And I've got, what's the math? If you take 6, carry the 1. 12 cylinders, so that's yeah. Anyways, this thing's an absolute hoopty. One of the only pros of this thing is it's got a set of genuine Empires. If you guys haven't noticed, they mounted 2 sets of fronts on the right side and 2 sets of rears on the left side, is why the lip is bigger on the driver's side. Check out the interior. It's got extended leather. It's got a bunch of pieces that need replaced in there. Could use a buff. Clear coat's pretty shot. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And if we come up here, kidney grills are missing. The bumper's been ripped off because the previous owner decided to back into some family of 5. They survived. And lastly, at the back, we've got a cracked lower valence on the bumpers. Parking sensors completely ripped off. But there is one plus to this entire purchase aside from the M parallels. Kids Bop CD. Yeah. So now let's talk about some plans we've got for this car. A few things it needs off the bat. If I were to think of a short list, it needs a ton of interior pieces. The rear sunshades are completely shot, including the quarter window sunshades are shot. Headliner is sagging unbelievably bad. There's some moisture on the rear carpets because the back window was down for several years. Fortunately, that wasn't the front right window, as that would allow water to get to the fuse panel underneath. Shouldn't be too much hiding underneath there, but we will remove the carpets to make sure there's no moisture affecting the floorboards because water can get trapped under there for a very long time. Transmission-wise, this thing has a Mighty ZF 5 HP, which is both a very bad transmission and a good transmission. These transmissions can be super strong, but since BMW decided to brand it as a lifetime fluid replacement, nobody ever replaces the fluid on these, and it doesn't have a dipstick to check your level. So what that means is these transmissions are actually pretty stout, but nobody ever changes the fluid on these. So the torque converter seals will fail, the torque converters will fail, and just like this car, reverse will pull a Houdini, and then you no longer have reverse. A few good things about it is the self-level suspension works, as you guys saw in the video. The sport electronic dampening control shocks are perfectly in functioning order without any leaks as well. And this thing will just need a lot of cosmetics. The front hood will need to be resprayed. It'll need a crash bar along with the front bumper. Finding OEM pieces for this car are not exactly super easy, but replica bumpers fit terrible. And we're not driving a Honda Civic SI, so you know, we need to realistically, we'll probably end up respraying this whole car because the clear coat is just so shot. Otherwise, the engine runs pretty damn well. I mean, it has a code for a bad left side MAF sensor. But yeah, this thing will just be a lot of cosmetics. It'll take a lot to restore this thing. An idea Cole and I had about this thing is we want to just like restore this thing and maybe take a road trip across country. Because I mean, who doesn't want to take an E38 across country? It's the perfect road trip car. You know what I'm saying? If I don't sell this thing. You know what I'm saying? Alright, now you are joined in the cabin of the flagship E38 BMW. W140 Mercedes S-Class is better, so sorry for all the BMW fans. So a couple things it's going to need in here is this car is a 750i, so it's got extended leather, so the dashboard, the top of the door cards are stitched leather, unlike the regular vinyl tan that the other E38 models would come with. So this dashboard is not in too bad a shape, but it's got like some pitting over here and some tearing of the leather, so this will probably need to be replaced. Along with the top of the door cards, have seen better days, and the grab handles on the door cards are pretty rough. The thing with these extended leather option cars, if you don't condition this leather like you do your seats, they'll crack out and literally just dry out and get super brittle and messed up. So you really have to take a good amount of care to keep these looking nice. So hopefully if I could find a black interior from a 750iL with extended leather, then I would definitely prefer to convert this to black, because like I said, I'm just not a huge fan of the sand beige. This interior is a complete basket case. Like I said, the sunshades are jacked up. The rear one probably doesn't even work. I'm getting it to go down. So the interior is a complete basket case. When I bought this thing, this entire steering column assembly was in like 15 different pieces. The EWS module was just hanging on by a thread taped up over here. The ignition switch was just sitting over here on the side. The key lock cylinder was all jacked up, and you had to start this thing with a screwdriver. I didn't like that. So the very first thing I did when I got this car is I reassembled all of that. And the issue why it was all torn apart is this key wasn't able to turn. The lock cylinders can get a little bit jammed, and then you can't turn the key. Since you couldn't turn the key, you had to manually release the shift lock to get this thing to go into any gear. All I did was blast that ignition cylinder with PB Blaster, and now it turns. I doubt the AC works. The radio wiring is all torn apart. That's not supposed to be there, but it does drive. It drives. It shifts through all the gears and drive. I've driven it around the neighborhood. It just doesn't have reverse. Makes no sense. I'm alright. I'm just trying to think about interesting things to talk about this car, but it's just such a boring ass like dad, grandpa vehicle. So unlike the S4 video, I don't have a lot to like keep you guys entertained because this thing is pretty basic. Like I think they're cool as hell, but not a lot of advertising. It's V12, it's a cool color. That's it. Will you stop zooming in on my lips? Alright, so anyways, only thing we're gonna plan on doing with this car, like I said, is the full restoration. So with this type of car, it's not a 540, it's not an S4, it's not fast. So although a lot of people would probably like to see me open up the exhaust a little bit, get rid of some cabs or some mufflers and wake up the V12 sound, I don't plan on doing any of that to this car. The build for this in the future, expect to see just kind of an OEM plus rebuild. I'm not gonna put any halo rings, I'm not gonna touch the exhaust system at all, I'm not gonna lower it. I'm literally just gonna restore this thing to bone stock. I just think these types of cars are best left stock, both for value purposes and just that's what the car is all about. It's supposed to be a nice, comfortable road trip car, not something that's super lowered on big 19-inch or 20-inch wheels with a loud exhaust. I don't think that's what these cars are about. I think VIP builds are cool, but with a car with this type of class, I'd rather just keep it OEM stock. If you don't like it, take me to jail. Alright, so one of the first videos you guys will probably see on this car is, like I said, it needs a radiator. So we'll get an OEM radiator from FCP Euro so we can take advantage of that lifetime warranty. Some radiator mounts because the brackets are all missing. So we'll get an OEM bumper as well because aftermarket bumpers are pretty inexpensive. You get them for a couple $100 new. But the fitment always tends to come short on E39 and E38 at the corners, and they can be a little bit wavy underneath the headlight trim, and below the grills they can be a little bit wavy and have gaps, and that just looks hideous. So, and then other than that, if I do end up keeping these wheels, definitely need some new tires because these things are dry rotted and the sidewalls are literally cracked. Brakes haven't been changed in several years, so we'll have to do brake pads, flush the old fluid out of the calipers, remove that god-awful red spray paint because it's not a performance car, and whoever told this guy that the red goes great with green lied. Yeah, it'll just be a lot of maintenance and just getting this thing back up to speed since it's been off the road for a couple of years. Alright, let's talk about some classic E38, E39 issues that this car of course has. Broken sunshade, we've covered that. The button control panels and the seats always tend to fall apart on these cars, and they are both falling apart on these cars, of course. This car doesn't have the seat twist issue. The button controls for the electric seats are all falling off, typical. Headliners falling down, clear coat failure. It doesn't leak any oil, which is a huge surprise, but it does leak antifreeze, but there's a hole in the radiator. This Dynon badge is completely phony. There is not a single Dynon component on this vehicle, but if you guys look at how this line is connecting the Dynon badge, it's a genuine Dynon badge, probably from an E32 7 Series. Quit filming. Alright, let's find out if these reclining rear seats work. Lumbar support. Lumbar support works. I've tested the heated seats already. So yeah, with that said, this thing would make a great road trip car because like the back seat room, the seat's all the way back, and I've got quite a few inches between my knees and the back of the seat, so it's super comfortable. Taking anything like a road trip, I just want a soft, comforty 90s BMW ride. I don't want any coilover bounce or anything like that. It's a 7 Series, not a 540i, so I think it'd be super cool to just keep this thing bone stock since it's super comfortable, make a great road trip car. And believe it or not, reliability does belong in the same sentence as a 750iL because the M73 is literally unkillable. And if you kill one, you suck. So if I kill one, I suck. I'll try to keep this one out of a ditch. No promises. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, Cole, I almost killed you. Alright, so like I said, this is a very hard car to make an entertaining video about because it's such a, like, I think they're cool as hell, but it's such a niche, like, not very well-known car. It's a 7 Series, it's big, it's automatic. It's not like the Audi where it's a 6-speed and it's got twin turbos and all these upgraded parts that you can talk about. But I think it'd be super cool just to have this on the channel because it just adds a different category of a type of car. Because a lot of our other videos are a lot about tuner cars with modifications and a lot of plans we've got for them. So it'd just be cool to bring another crowd to our channel that can kind of respect older type OEM plus builds like this one. So we've got a lot of plans for this thing. This happens to actually be my 3038, but it's my first V12. And I sold this car for my W140 that's been sitting parked outside of my house for several months. Pan the picture to the W140, Cole. So now I can confidently say I own the last two best German sedans of all time, the W140 S-Class and the E38 7 Series. Thanks for watching.